Presentation of my professional interview with JH Specialties Vice President Patrick Floria. Patrick attended IPFW originally looking to study physical therapy, and at that time, the state of Indiana only required a master's degree to be a physical therapist. But halfway through Patrick's undergraduate program, Indiana made a change, and a doctorate became the new requirement of a physical therapist. Therefore, Patrick realized he needed to make a change as well. He didn't have any interest in going into med school and racking up large amounts of debt before getting into the workforce, so he decided to change his major to psychology because he had come to enjoy the GE courses he was taking for PT in psych. But in his last year of school, he received an internship with JH Specialty, where he is now the vice president. I was extremely curious as to how Patrick's psychology major fit into his role at JH now, and he explained to me that it gave him a very important skill in understanding people. His background allows him to create strong customer relationships and make sales. And he further explained that everything he needed to know about marketing was learned on the job and that he finds a lot of importance in real-world hands-on learning. Patrick played golf at IPFW all 4 years, and I questioned him about how he balanced being a student and an athlete. I was unaware that golf had fall and spring seasons with 6 tournaments each season, and Patrick explained to me that he would be away from class for his tournaments for 30 plus days in the middle of each semester. He shared with me how he found it difficult to manage his academics to the level he wanted, but appreciated the time management skills that allowed him to train. He also stressed the importance of filling your schedule as a student with productive activities in order to curb distractions taking over. When Patrick wasn't playing golf, he was still wanting to maintain that structure in his life and worked part-time jobs throughout his college years. In his work today, he really values the teamwork skills that he gained from golf, and JH Specialty has a very team-oriented culture that he has cultivated. Patrick finds collaborative work to be the best work. So one thing that Patrick mentioned he wished he had taken advantage of more in college is internships. He is a big proponent of hands-on learning and advised me to not be afraid to be bold in taking these types of opportunities. He stressed the importance of discerning what you like and dislike early on, and that it's okay to not love every job or every internship that you partake in, and it's all part of the learning process. He also mentioned that while in college, he tried to make as many connections as possible through taking advantage of departments set up at IPFW to help students on their road to success. I resonated with this idea because I work in the ACDC here at USF and see this work unfolding every day. He talked more about creating transferable skills, which is something I feel I'm doing very well within my position at the ACDC. I circled back to the idea of being unsure of potential opportunities, and he 100% encouraged me to take the leap, but also to understand that I need to be humble enough to know that I may need to work my way up within a company. We talked about finding an employer post-graduation looking for growth that matches my needs and expectations. He also touched on the idea of the grass isn't always greener on the other side, it's greener where you water it, which I loved. He encouraged me to not be afraid to set roots if I find a company I enjoy instead of constantly searching for the next jump. He said it's important to embrace the doubts I mentioned, accept them, and move forward with integrity, honesty, and good work ethic. I asked Patrick what his biggest challenge and reward are from his position, and ironically, his greatest challenge also rewards him the most. He explained the importance of leading his teammates to self-discovery. While giving direct orders is easy, it's not productive in the long run. While it's difficult, he finds the most satisfaction in helping his teammates achieve their goals and find true understanding. I further questioned him on this advice to the younger generation of how to follow in his footsteps. We discussed his love for serving his community and that it can be as simple as joining a board that aligns with your passions. He told me that our communities desperately seek young voices and making a difference is not out of reach. Aside from being on boards and serving in his church, Patrick also served as an adjunct professor at IPFW. I was curious to pick his brain as I am a student. I shared that he found the most joy in bringing his real life work to his class and making teaching more than just case studies and textbooks. I asked him what he wanted his students to walk away from his class remembering most, and he answered that he wanted them to understand the why, which I thought was very fascinating. He explained further that memorizing definitions is fine, but knowing why something is the way that it is and getting behind the how is true learning. Lastly, we discussed goals. He started to question me about where I am in my life. We talked about the push and pull between the ideas of being 20 and living your life versus keeping your head down and remaining focused on your success. He advised me to understand the balance and keep in mind that because you're a student, you are working every day to set yourself up for the rest of your life and your professional career. He continued by telling me how he has come to realize that this stage of a student's life is a very critical time for planning and looking towards the future. He used the phrase zooming out in reference to how I look at my life. He explained to me that it's easy to get caught up in only living for the next test or the next project, but it's absolutely necessary to look at the bigger picture of how you're progressing to achieve your goals. This opened up the discussion further to the idea of goals in general, which is something Patrick focuses on a lot in his company. He spoke with me about how to create attainable goals and how to avoid creating the idea of a goal into a buzzword instead of actually using them as a tool. Overall, speaking with Patrick was a great pleasure, and it was great to connect with him on a business level, but also really helpful to hear from someone in the marketing world about how my personal life and my professional life can mesh together. And I feel that I was able to truly learn a lot from him, and I appreciated this experience.